Hi, I wanted to share with you some of the products that I received from Hautelook that I've had now for about 6 weeks. I ordered them quite a while ago. You know how Hautelook is if you've ever purchased anything from them. It's an online retailer that lets you have designer things at a very reduced price, sometimes up to 75% off. And with their cosmetics, it's usually some of them, 40, 50, sometimes up to 80% off, and I love that. But every time my favorite cosmetics company is on there, I'm always kind of like trolling, who is it today, who is it today, who is it today? And I'm always trolling, almost never buy, but every time they have the Balm on there, I'm like, placing an order. So quick, you would not believe it. All right, so I fell in love with the Balm almost 2 years ago when I got a very small, teeny tiny sample. It was about this big from Birchbox, and it was from one of their blushes called Hot Mama, which is a beautiful peachy kind of corally blush that has gold shimmer in it. It's very close to NARS's Orgasm. Not quite, but kind of close, and I love it. I already had NARS's Orgasm, but I fell in love with the texture, the long-staying application, and everything of the Balm's Hot Mama. I thought, well, what else is there? And I started slowly acquiring just a few things. And over the years, a few more, and I started thinking, okay, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. And last year, when Hautelook was I discovered Hautelook, and I found out they would sell things like the Balm, I was like constantly trolling their website. And I made a purchase last year, and I picked up quite a few things, and I was like, hooray! And I finally decided that was the way that I was only ever going to buy the Balm, because why pay full price when you don't have to? All right, so here's what I got. I have been wanting, I got a palette. It was the Balm Jovi palette, which is their rock and roll palette, and it has a whole bunch of amazing eyeshadows, and it has 12 eyeshadows. It has a blush, it has a luminizer in there, and then it has some cheek and lip products at the bottom, some cream products. And it's a really nice full product, full palette with a lot of different options in there. And they have this really tiny, it's about this big, small, teeny tiny pan of luminizer, and it's Mary Luminizer. And I wanted a full size because I was like, I don't want to, every time I go someplace, I don't want to have to take the full palette if I want just the luminizer. So I got one of these. Sadly, when it arrived completely shattered. But thank goodness for YouTube and all the tutorials on how to fix a shattered pan of makeup. And if you haven't watched one of those, you should just search for it on YouTube and you'll figure it out. So I fixed mine. Hooray, hooray. And have been using it ever since. The one thing I did do that normally they don't say is crushed it all up, poured in the 70 to 90% rubbing alcohol. Anything lower really won't work as well. And then I over flooded it. I just got it so completely like wet. There was no possibility. I leveled it out, and then I used a napkin. Like I folded it up in multiple layers, and then I pressed that on top to soak up and kind of like pat it down. And it held it there for a long time just to soak up all the extra alcohol. And if you'll notice at the angle, you can see I've been using it, but you can see it has kind of like a floral print in here. Yeah, something I did. And it set it perfectly, and now no problems. No problems at all. So don't ever throw away makeup. YouTube can help you fix your broken makeup. But this is beautiful. It's a highlight that I use almost every single day. Oddly enough, not today, different highlight today. But this swatches like this, beautiful champagne gold. And I like this because being fair-skinned, it's not too much for me. I like this one a lot. I also wanted to try, this is new from the Balm, fairly new. It's their Cindy Luminizer, another highlight, but this one tends to be more of a pinky peach shade. This one also arrived shattered, so I did the same thing to it, and that's what it looks like in the pan. And right next to, so here's the champagne one, and here is this one, and I find that this one I can actually use just like a blush, a really pale blush. It's not nearly, you can tell it's not nearly as shiny and highlighty as the champagne color, so it's a lot more dialed down, but it does catch the light quite a bit. I have to be careful that I don't wear it on a day I know I'm going to be outside and sweating, or it's just going to get ugly. So I'm careful with that. I have one of their Instain blushes, and when I saw them on there, I said I'm going to pick up a couple more. So this one is Swiss Dot. This one is more of a kind of a, I would call it more of an apricot shade. And what you really need to be careful with these guys about is a light hand, like a really light hand. You barely put your brush in there, tap, 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 and then carefully apply, because if you don't, and this is a really strong swatch right here, these bad boys stay all day, and where you put it, they stay. You know, you maybe get a little bit of time to kind of buff it out, but be very careful where you apply these. And when they say Instain, they do stain. And that's what's great, because once you put them on, they're there. And I love that sometimes I'll be wearing something and, you know, I'll put it on in the morning at 7:30 or 8, right before I head to work. And then by 5 or 5:30 in the evening, it's like I have no blush anymore. I look like tired and worn out. And these bad boys, they stay. Here's another one. And this one here is Lace. And it's a beautiful, bright, bright pink. It's almost like a flamingo pink. And this one here, yeah, it's like, pooh. So here's that champagne. Here's that peachy highlight. Here is Swiss Dot. Is it Swiss Dot? Yeah. And this one here is Lace. And this is one I never wear anywhere near that bright or bold, but I wanted you really to see, like, you seriously have to be careful, because this will, they're not playing. I don't know how I would ever use this entire pan of color, but yeah. All right. So another thing that I got, and I wanted to see what they were like, because I've always loved all of the powder products, whether it's highlights or not concealers, but highlights or blushes. I wanted to try one of their lipsticks, and I love the packaging. It's called Read My Lips, and my shade is Letter to the Editor. And I have another one that still hasn't arrived, and it's been like, I don't know, more than 2 months since I ordered it. So I got to call Hautelook and go, hello, I paid $10 for this lipstick. Where is it? But this is what it looks like. But the packaging is basically cardboard. You know, on the inside it almost looks like a tube of, you know, toilet paper or something. It's kind of funny. But what I don't like about this is the way that it drags on my lips. It's not creamy. It's not, I have really high standards for lipsticks. And this is something that I would expect from, don't get me wrong, I love me a good drugstore lipstick. But for the price, if you were to buy this full price, I would be extremely disappointed. I'm even disappointed paying half price for this. This is something I would expect from the drugstore, and still then be like, why did I pay for this? So this is Letter to the Editor. The color is pretty. It's right here. It's kind of like a bronzy brick color, which I like, but on the lips it pulls and drags. It doesn't last very long. I would not recommend buying one of their lip shades. I just wouldn't do it. That's me. All right, next couple of things that I purchased. I purchased a couple of their brushes. I was really interested to see what they were. This one is their powder brush. It's called Powder to the People, and I thought, how cool was that? And I love how on the other side it has a bunch of hands going, yeah, with their brushes. And this is a full synthetic, and I feel like I could do this all day. You know, I've had really expensive brushes. I've had like a powder brush that I spent more than $50 for. And then I've had some inexpensive ones I picked up at the drugstore. And this one, I paid half price for what it was more than, I think it was normally close to $30. I don't remember what it was like the full price. But like I could do this all day. It's really nice. I really like it. And it's easy. If you can find one of these on Hautelook, and you're not like a total brush snob, like some people only will have like super, super, super high-end brushes, I think this is actually really nice. I like it a lot. The other one that I picked up was their Blend a Hand, which is their foundation brush. It also has that really cool, you know, bunch of hands on the other side. And I find it's good for, I use it for concealer. It's supposed to be for foundation. I use it a lot for concealer around the inside corners of my nose. I don't put foundation everywhere usually. This is usually where I'm blending in through here. I'm blending around in through here, usually around this area, and I find it works really well for that. And then I just kind of feather it out to make sure I don't have any noticeable lines. And that's usually the only places that I really use any sort of liquid anything. And I think it works fantastic for that. I clean it every day so I don't get any, you know, build up anything like way down in here. And it works really well. Sometimes it does get a little streaky sometimes, so I just have to be careful that I don't get too much product in there. I think that's more too much product and not the brush doesn't work well. So there's that. Last thing I picked up, and I should clean my hand now from all my swatches so I can show you more beautiful goodness, because it was like the one thing I've been wanting. And I saw this basically came out just around the holidays, and I wanted it. Oop, sorry. And I almost paid full price for it. I told myself, no, wait till it's on Hautelook. Don't pay full price. It's this palette. It's called Balm Voyage. And I always love their retro packaging, like all of their beautiful, gorgeous girls. And the back, of course, always tells you what there is with their 16 full-size eyeshadows. And then there's 3 cream products. And of course, it's all based on an airplane. So everything has, like, all of the eyeshadows are not named. They're like A1, A2, A3, A4, all the way through D1 through 4, which is fantastic. All right, so first thing you'll notice is that it has this super cute woman. This is the mirror, and her you know, hand is like this underneath her face. So when you look in the mirror, it's like you with like these little cool retro curls and stuff. And her name is Anita Vacation, which I loved. Anyway, so I love how large the shadows are. And I think that's just like the best part of this, because I have another one of their like their Balm Jovi palette. Like the shadows are only like this big. So these are twice as large as their other palettes. And I love that. Even their nude tooth palettes, their shadows are only half this size. The next one that has shadows this large is the Meet Matte Nude, which I have. But I love that this has, you know, a range of, you know, like mattes as well as like shimmers and stuff, which is really fantastic. And as you can see, I've used all of them, stuck my finger in all of them to swatch them and stuff. And I was sure I wasn't going to use like some of these brighter colors, but I've used this to like line my eyes. And if you're looking for like a bright pop of color, especially for summertime, and I do that all the time in summer, like a color like this or a color like this, perfect. I've used this and this to line my eyes, and this here is a beautiful kind of like Logan green, which is fantastic. Love, love, love. This right here, this is C3. Somehow I'm always seated in the middle when I'm on an airplane ride anyway, so C3 does not surprise me. I've been using this to fill in my eyebrows with. If I ever want to do powder, I've been using, normally I use the Anastasia Brow Wiz pencil, but I just ran out. And poo-poo on Birchbox for sending me the wrong shade, and then I have to wait for the return. Anyway, long story. I've been using C3 with a stiff angled brush to fill in my eyebrows, and it works perfectly. So I also like it in my crease as well, but C3 has been saving me so my eyebrows don't look sparse and ugh. Anyway, even this creamy buttery yellow down here, I was sure that this was going to be like a scary shade, and how would I actually wear this and pull this off? This is a gorgeous golden shade. Can you see it right here? I was sure it was going to be like way too scary, way too yellow. It's actually a gorgeous golden shade, and it's just enough. I usually keep it like on the lid itself, and it makes my eyes glow. It's just so pretty. And this shade here, I'll use like a lot of more of like the browns and the taupes, and then I'll use this blue. Like, this is normally what I'll do, is I'll just put it like right here and smudge it in. And it gives me just a small little pop. I'm gonna look stupid now that I do this. But I'll even just use my finger, and so it's a little bit more like this side here and a little bit less like this side. This is like a little too much. And it's not too much. It's not too 1980s. And all of a sudden there's color on my eyes, and it's not like, boom, this really bright aqua eye, but it's really pretty. I love this palette, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to use some of these colors in here, but they're fabulous. Like the rest of these colors, use this sort of stuff all the time. And you've got some really nice neutrals down in here. And then this shimmery shade down here, this so reminds me of what you would find in like Naked 3. Yeah, it's kind of like that taupey rosy gold shade. Yeah, that's like everywhere in the Naked 3. There's a lot of shades in here, like this one, and this one, and this one that you would definitely find Naked 3. So there's a lot of variety in here, which I love. And then down below, this is what I love down here. You have Captain, First Officer, Second Officer. And what's great about this is that these are all cream products, and they double as cheek products and lip products. So let me quickly goop up my fingers and flip this shut and find a good place to swatch these bad boys for you. Okay, so this is Captain, First Officer, and Second Officer. Second Officer is more of your like true red. This is kind of like your peachy nude. And this color, this First Officer, this Captain color here, what I love about this, I've been wearing this as a lipstick a lot. I find that as a lipstick, they can be a bit on the dry side, so put a balm down first. But they are smashing, and this color I cannot replicate with like mixing lipsticks or anything else. And they are flat out gorgeous on the cheeks, all of them. Totally in love. So I don't know if you ever see this on Hautelook, even if you want to pay full price for it, but I would definitely recommend this. This is a fabulous palette. I love it, love it, love it. I use it all the time. It's like my new go-to palette, and I've had it for a long time. It's kind of even outranked my Naked 3. So yeah, loving it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day. I know it's a little on the long side, but there was a lot of stuff to talk about. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.